Welcome, everyone. We are so excited. Babe, this is our first official episode.
I'm excited.
So am I. So, we're going to dive right in. So, you're probably wondering why we've titled this The Crucifixion After the Celebration. Well, those of you that are married, or perhaps those that intend to get married, you probably imagine your wedding day going to something like this. Con los terroristas. I think we could have pulled that off, you think?
Yeah, I could see us doing that.
Oh, yeah, that would have been good.
But maybe a couple of months later, let's say 90 days later, your marriage probably soon to become something a little like this. Check this out.
Come on, honey. Come to dad.
Ouch. Oof.
She was gangster.
Yeah. FYI.
I like Angelina Jolie though.
Yeah,
That's my girl.
She's alright. She got the last laugh in that scene. I'll give you that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
FYI, that's not actually what happens between us, so we don't want you to get that impression. But
Sometimes I kind of feel that way. I'm just kidding.
it is what it is. Yeah. I'd never do that to you, obviously. But yeah, babe, what is it that gets people to that point? What do you think happens?
To the point of what the fighting,
Like it's the celebration before, and now all of a sudden you hit some crisis or actual reality in marriage, and you get to the point where you're literally wanting to go at each other's throats. What causes it?
Well, probably a few things. I know for me, there are some times when I kind of want to do a little drop kick, do a little Angelina Jolie on ya. But when we go back to the beginning, you got the celebration first because you've planned this, elaborate wedding, and you're excited, you're happy. As a woman, we have all of these expectations of marriage, of your spouse being the provider.
Right.
You have this image of bliss in your mind. And so when you first get married, those first 30 to 90 days, everything is going good. But then you hit that period of the bumps in the road.
Yeah.
And it's usually probably, I know for us, after those first 3 months, it was kind of like, ouch.
Yeah.
I don't really like him.
Yeah. Not like I wasn't expecting this, right?
Yeah, you weren't expecting it. And so just speaking from the perspective as a woman, I had this idea in my mind of what I wanted marriage to be like. I was really, really excited, planning the wedding myself and just getting ready for all of those things.
Yeah. Is this a myth? Like, I know a lot of people say that women, they have the wedding planned in their heads from like 5 or 6 years old.
Well, I definitely can't speak for every woman on the planet, but I know for me and a lot of my friends and other women that I know, yeah, you kind of, you have that expectation in your mind, even as a little girl, you think, I'm going to have this really nice wedding, and you get excited about the wedding dress.
Yeah.
You get excited about moving in together and
Yeah,
starting a family and just doing all of these things. And so when you start hitting those bumps in the road, after that 90-day period, it's like, I don't know who this person is, what happened, because it's all about, I think when we first enter into marriage, it's all about me. It's all about, what I want. These were my expectations. Now you're not meeting these expectations. So what's going on?
So my brain is kind of So it's almost like the starting point for marriage for a lot of people, us included. Honestly, I think we kind of fell into that. The starting point is, what is it I can get out of this?
Yeah.
Like, how is it that this person can fulfill my needs?
Mm-hmm.
And we lock kind of these, I don't want to say unrealistic, but in a sense
Yeah.
they are, unrealistic expectations on them.
Yeah.
And when those expectations aren't met, it's like what did I get myself into, right? So it's almost like we're starting with, marriage is all about self-sacrifice. That, I guess, if you spend any time in church and know anything about the Bible and marriage and that kind of stuff. But I think our starting point in a lot of instances is probably self-fulfillment.
Mm-hmm. I agree, because one of the things that you do, when you're in a relationship, it's like, I can do this for you, I can do that, I can do that. But really, in the back of our minds, it's like, okay, what can this person do for me?
Yeah.
What am I going to get out of it?
Exactly.
And I think if we're really honest with ourselves, a lot of times, our motives are not pure, because
That's true.
it's all about what I'm going to get, what this person is going to do for me. So it goes back to, I think, self-fulfillment, the aspect of self-fulfillment.
Yeah, that's kind of like that's what we think will kind of sustain the marriage is, the more I can get out of this person, the happier I'll be and the better the marriage will be.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in reality, what we found actually, and I think what a lot of other couples have found too, is that self-fulfillment is kind of it's a result really of all the sacrifice you put in. It's not so much what you start with, but it actually comes as a result of me willing to lay aside some stuff that I had in mind that you should do. Like, for example, I remember one of the unrealistic expectations that I had for you when we first got married.
Yeah.
If I walked in the door, right,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't hear from you, hey babe, how's your day? Tell me all about your day and tell me how work was and that kind of stuff. If I didn't hear that from you, I felt some kind of way.
Okay.
It probably reflected in my attitude too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's like when I first get in the door, I'm just like, hey, give me a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, just you probably might come and want to hug and that kind of stuff, and I'm just like, give me a second.
Okay.
And my point is, it would be unfair for me to hold on to that expectation, because our expectations of each other change over time.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
so it's
That's true. I agree. But for as far as me being a wife, and because when I think about what you're supposed to do, what the Bible says that you're supposed to do for me, I know that you're supposed to be the provider. You're supposed to be, the husband's supposed to be the protector.
Yeah.
Obviously. So why shouldn't I have those expectations? Why shouldn't I be focusing on being fulfilled? Because I'm pretty sure others want to know as well. Why is it that we're wrong for having those expectations?
I don't know that it's wrong to have the expectations according to what the Bible says.
Okay.
I just think it's our expectations that kind of go outside of Scripture. Like, I expect to always like this person.
Okay.
I always expect this person to be in a good mood. I always expect you to want to do what I want to do.
Gotcha.
And watch on TV what I want to watch. And if I'm watching football, I have an expectation. I don't want you bothering me right now.
Gotcha.
Whereas you might want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, it's the biblical expectations. Obviously, we should have that expectation of each other. You should expect me to be, a provider, a protector, not just of natural things, but also, when it comes to the spiritual,
Gotcha.
emotional support, that kind of stuff. You should definitely want that and expect that from me, because, hey, that's what God laid out in His Word. All the other stuff, it's optional. Like, and it changes, it fluctuates over time. Like, whether or not we like each other all the time, that's not realistic. We're not going to like each other all the time.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean I should, as a husband, move away from what the Bible tells me to do. Now, if I do that, you have a case.
Okay.
But if it's just a matter of you expecting me to be Prince Charming, over time.
Yeah, and that's the point that I was
Yeah.
getting at. Obviously,
Yeah.
I do agree, but that took some time for me to learn.
Right.
You know, because I just felt like, wow, he's not being that knight in shining armor that he's supposed to be.
Oh, I caught
And
it. Oh my.
it really took. I think we were what about to be 9 years on the 23rd
Yeah, we are.
of this
Yeah.
month.
9 years.
So it took probably maybe about 7 years or so for me to learn that, you know, marriage is not just about me getting and me obtaining. I can't expect for Wayne to fulfill every aspect of me. There are some things that I should be looking to God for. Obviously, you know, God has mandated for a husband to be the provider, to be the protector, but at the same time, he's not going to meet every emotional need that I have. And I think that sometimes women, we have these unrealistic expectations of our husbands.
Yeah.
And we have to be reminded that they're not God.
Yeah. And to be fair,
Mhm.
men, I can deal with us too, because we have unrealistic expectations of our wives. Honestly, we feel like, you know, when the Bible calls a wife to submit to her husband, for a long time I thought that, you know, the husband being the head of the wife meant that the husband was the boss. I clearly know that that's not the case. You know,
You can be the boss.
whatever. You know good and well, as soon as we leave here, all right, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. Anyway, I'm just saying. But it's when the Bible calls the husband the head of the wife, it's calling him basically the chief servant. You know, and I know that's probably not popular.
Yeah,
I get
Let's
it.
just sit right there. Go ahead. I can listen to you all day. Go ahead. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I mean, but think about it though. Like, if I expect you to follow me, as far as leadership is concerned, it's kind of a well-known, established fact that most people follow leaders because they feel a connection to that leader.
That's true.
It's not so much you following me because Bible just says, hey, follow me. But you've gained the respect for me because I've led by example.
Yeah.
And it's more so me basically being the chief servant and being an example for my wife to follow, you know. And it says the husband's supposed to love the wife as Christ loved the church. So it'd be unfair of me to expect you to submit like the Bible says you should if I'm not loving you like the Bible says I should.
That's true.
And I mean, I'm a witness, you know, when I love you like the Bible says I should, when I love you like sacrificially like Jesus loved the church, you have no issue submitting. You know, because you feel protected, you feel loved. Everything may not be perfect at the moment. You know, we still go through our ups and downs, obviously. You know, we have disagreements, we have fights, you know. Not like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but you get the picture. You know, I don't think we've gone WWE on each other yet. I'm expecting that.
Never happen.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because I might lose that fight, honestly, because girls don't fight fair. Anyway, but yeah, it's unfair for me to expect that of you when I'm not doing my part. And we were talking about it the other night, about how a lot of times marriage nowadays is more viewed as a contract instead of a covenant.
That's true.
It's like, you know, hey, there's a 50-50 portion of this contract. If you don't do your half, I'm not obligated to do my half. That doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work like that because marriage is a covenant. It's not a contract. So even if I don't believe that you're meeting what I view as, you know, your fair portion or fulfilling your fair portion of the agreement, so to speak, I still have to make mine. I can't say, you know, no, he didn't do his part, so I'm not going to do my part because I've made a covenant. We've made a covenant, and God is ultimately, you know, the head of that covenant.
Yeah.
So because I've made a commitment to God, I have to keep my commitment to you as a wife, as a mother. I still have to do my part, so to speak, because I think it's never really going to be a 50-50. I mean, we have days where, you know, I got to carry the load.
Right.
You know, you may not be feeling well, or you just may not be having a bad day, but it doesn't take away from who you are, and vice versa. I have plenty of days where I'm not feeling well. Like, for example, you know, when I was going for a month this past month, for training, you know, he had to be super dad. Did an awesome job, by the way. Absolutely.
You think so?
You did. The house was not burned down, so I think you succeeded.
Really?
Yeah. So, you know, Wayne had to take the kids to school. He had to pick the kids up, you know, extracurricular activities. Just, you know, kind of almost you were in the role of a single parent for just a brief moment. But,
Yeah.
you know, still you're going to have those times. So you can't view marriage. And I think that's what's happening, why we see a lot of marriages that are failing today, because, again, it goes back to the self-fulfillment. Everyone's wanting what they can get.
Exactly.
You know, if I'm not being fulfilled at this very moment now, I want to give it all up.
There's no point in me
I want to
continuing
let
this.
it go because, you know, I feel like I'm not being fulfilled.
And see, that's the difference between a covenant and a contract. Because, and even if you look at God keeping His covenant with us, like that in and of itself should really kind of get us to see, look, if God were like us, and didn't fulfill His portion because we don't fulfill ours, which, by the way, we do on a regular basis. Like, I feel God on a regular basis. I don't do nearly as much to do my part of the covenant as God does. And I think marriage is kind of God's way to reflect that. It's not so much me, you know, being mad at God or being mad at you, rather, for not fulfilling your part, and that being a license for me not to fulfill mine. If God were that way with us, it'd be a mess.
It really would be. What about self-sacrifice? How do we implement that into marriage?
I just think you kind of have to train yourself to really start and begin with, what can I give? You know, I know that goes against human nature, because often we're just concerned about what it is we can get. That's human nature. But when I look at my wife, and when I look at, you know, potentially what I could potentially get from her, I have to train myself to say, okay, before I look to get something from you, what have I given to you? You know, what have I put aside from myself? And it actually starts with me. Like, as far as the husband is concerned, that's part of being the head, is giving myself over as Christ gave Himself for the church. It starts with sacrifice for me, and you kind of reciprocate that with me. Because, I mean, you know, I think that's one of the reasons why the Bible established the roles like it did, because it gave us roles that don't come naturally for us. Women, you're all a lot more nurturing and giving than men are.
Yeah.
So when the Bible says, husbands, love your wives sacrificially, that's hard for us to do. And on the flip side, when women are asked to submit to the husbands unto the Lord, that doesn't come naturally for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, why? You know, I'm better than him in all these areas. Like, I'm more creative. There are a lot of instances where I'm more intelligent. You know, I have more insight, this, that, and the other. So it doesn't come naturally. It's a sacrifice.
It is.
Yeah.
But I want to share this with some of the wives or single women who aspire, you know, to one day be married.
Yeah.
One of the quotes that I adopted, and I'm going to get that off there too, is that marriage is not a celebration, it's a crucifixion.
Right.
Obviously, it is a celebration.
Yeah.
You know, we do celebrate being married, but I adopt that into my mind daily, especially when me and Wayne are going through certain issues or problems, or I feel like he's not meeting my quote-unquote standards, or whatever, is that I have to remind myself that it's a crucifixion, not in that I'm being beaten or I'm being torn.
Right. It's not torture, y'all. It's not.
But in the fact that I have to make a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I'm not comparing it to anything that of course that Christ went through, you know, as far as the crucifixion.
Right.
But just in itself, knowing that, you know, I have to be willing to give of myself.
Exactly.
You know, I have to be willing to say yes, even when I want to say no.
That's true.
So I think that it's important to remember that, because we all have a false sense sometimes of what marriage is supposed to be, and sometimes people are not just real, and that's just one of the things that we kind of hope to do. Is to be realistic and say that's is true. Going to be some sweat and tears.
Yeah.
Hopefully no blood. But right. You know, it really is, seriously is a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And you really just have to remember that.
Yeah.
But before, you know, we segue into truth.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that you want to add to the aspect of fulfillment?
Actually, just to kind of go right there, like as far as truth. So I think another aspect too is there's a difference between the person we're dating and the person we're married to. There is. I mean, honestly, if you're honest with yourself, whether you've dated or not, whether you're married or not, when you're dating the person, you're putting your best foot forward.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But there are aspects of your personality and your personal life that you're just not willing to reveal yet, because you don't want to scare the other person away.
Yeah, and that's what I call that 90-day mark. It's like the true self reveal.
Exactly.
Because it's like, I don't know who you are. Who is this person that I married?
This ain't what I signed up for.
Doing this before.
Wasn't this annoying? wasn't this, you know, wasn't this demanding? Wasn't this angry or attitudinal or whatever?
Yeah, but and that's why I think it's important for you to be honest.
Yeah.
And to be truthful when you're dating, and it's okay to show, you know, your flaws.
Yeah, definitely.
And then it's not just important for the other individual, but it's important to be honest with yourself, you know, about who you are, because when you present this false identity,
false self,
the false self, when you're dating, and then you get married and you're still trying to take on this false identity.
Yes.
I don't want him to know that I have bad credit. I don't want him to know that I have these really huge bags underneath my eyes when I'm asleep, or whatever it may be.
We got a few, y'all. We can go down the list.
Those things that we try to hide.
Yeah.
You know, when we're dating. Obviously, you're not going to know everything about the individual, but I think it's just really important to be honest and to be truthful, so that when you enter into marriage, it's not like, oh my God, I don't know who this person is. Who is this person? Because again, that false identity, you have to carry that. You carry it into marriage, and then that identity in itself takes on a whole nother identity.
It does.
And it's like, and you wonder, okay, why is this person crazy? They're crazy because they're, you know, have this false identity that has just turned into these multiple different, you know, personalities because
they keep morphing and morphing. That's the thing. Like, God has used you to change me in a lot of ways. Like, there were aspects of my personality that weren't there that are there now because of our marriage. It's like, so it doesn't make any sense to go into the marriage with a false identity that you're trying to keep up, because your identity is going to be changed in a sense.
But it'll be changed for the better.
For the better. Yeah. It's unreal. It's just as unrealistic to go in thinking that I can keep up this facade as it is to expect, you know, you or, you know, your spouse or whatever to be perfect. You know, don't go in thinking that I can keep this going and it succeed, because you're going to change. I'm going to change. How we feel about each other is going to change. How we interact with each other is going to change. So y'all, we're going to cut it off here. We want you to join us for part 2 of this. We hope that what's been said thus far has kind of benefited you in some way. Again, like I said in the intro video, we're not experts. You know, far from it. We just want to share some things that we've gone through and experienced in our marriage thus far that could potentially help people. So yeah, join us for part 2. Oddly enough, part 2 is actually going to be kind of a flip of part 1.
Yeah, the celebration after the crucifixion.
Yeah. So one more thing. I made a mistake last time as far as saying that you all could actually post comments on the bottom of the page itself for Marriage at Golgotha. For some reason, I still haven't been able to figure out how to actually allow comments to be put on that page, but you can actually comment on the video post itself. So when you click on the link to go to the video post on our site, you can actually leave comments at the bottom of that specific
And that
post.
was his mistake, not my mistake. The man did it. The man did it.
You had to throw shade even at it. Really?
Fact.
It's cool.
It's true. You did.
But that's it for part 1. Again, we hope it has been good.
Thanks,
share
everybody.
share feedback with us how we can make it better. You have anything else?
That's it. Just want to say thanks, everybody. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Yeah. So tune in next time for more Marriage at Golgotha. Love you. Sign up.
Some people gotta lose. What I want is you. I can't live. What I want is you. Some people gotta lose. What I want